What if I told you that one of the most legendary names in Mustang history could be making a comeback, and if the rumors are true, it might completely shake up the muscle car world? The Ford Mustang Boss 302 has always held a special place in the hearts of performance enthusiasts. It represents raw V8 power, track-focused engineering, and a level of driving excitement that helped define American muscle for generations. Now, the idea of a 2027 Ford Mustang Boss 302 has fans talking once again. And what makes this story even more interesting is the price many people believe Ford could attach to it. If that happens, it may become one of the most desirable performance cars on the market. To understand why there is so much excitement, you first have to understand what the Boss 302 name means. The original Boss 302 arrived during the golden age of muscle cars. It wasn't just another Mustang with a bigger engine. It was built with racing in mind and created to compete at the highest levels of American motorsport. The car quickly earned a reputation for its incredible balance, high-revving V8, and aggressive character. Decades later, Ford revived the Boss 302 for the 2012 and 2013 model years, and enthusiasts immediately fell in love with it all over again. It delivered an experience that felt raw, authentic, and focused on driving enjoyment above everything else. Fast forward to today, and the automotive industry looks very different. Electrification is expanding, turbocharged engines dominate many segments, and pure naturally aspirated performance cars are becoming increasingly rare. That's exactly why the idea of a new Boss 302 has captured so much attention. Many enthusiasts believe this is the perfect moment for Ford to bring back a legendary nameplate that celebrates everything people love about traditional performance cars. Imagine seeing the new Boss 302 for the first time. The front end would likely be more aggressive than a standard Mustang, featuring larger air intakes, sharper lines, and functional aerodynamic elements designed to improve cooling and performance. The hood could feature prominent vents that not only look aggressive but also help manage heat generated by a powerful V8 engine. Wider fenders might give the car a more planted appearance, while unique Boss 302 graphics would pay tribute to its heritage. Moving to the side profile, the car would maintain the unmistakable Mustang silhouette that enthusiasts instantly recognize. However, larger wheels, performance tires, and a lower stance would create an even more athletic look. Every angle would communicate speed and capability. Around the rear, a redesigned diffuser, performance exhaust system, and subtle spoiler could complete the package. The goal wouldn't be to create something flashy for the sake of attention. Instead, every design element would serve a purpose while honoring the legacy of previous Boss models. Of course, the real excitement begins when we start talking about what could be under the hood. The heart of any true Boss 302 has always been its engine, and enthusiasts would expect nothing less from a modern version. Many believe Ford could use an upgraded version of its legendary 5.0-liter Coyote V8. If that happens, power figures could easily exceed 500 horsepower while maintaining the naturally aspirated character that drivers love. Unlike some modern performance cars that rely heavily on turbochargers, a naturally aspirated V8 delivers power in a unique way. The throttle response feels immediate. The engine revs freely. The sound becomes a major part of the experience. Every acceleration run feels dramatic. Every tunnel becomes an opportunity to hear the exhaust roar, and every drive turns into an event. Performance numbers would likely be impressive as well. A sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds would not be out of the question. Top speed could approach or exceed 180 miles per hour, depending on the final configuration. More importantly, the Boss 302 would probably focus on handling as much as straight-line speed. Enhanced suspension tuning, upgraded brakes, and track-oriented engineering could transform the Mustang into a true performance machine, capable of excelling on winding roads and racetracks alike. Inside the cabin, the modern Boss 302 would likely blend technology with performance-focused design. The driver could be greeted by a fully digital instrument cluster displaying performance data, lap times, and customizable information. A large infotainment screen would provide access to navigation, connectivity features, and vehicle settings. Performance seats with increased support would help keep occupants secure during spirited driving, while unique Boss branding throughout the cabin would remind drivers they are sitting in something special. Technology would undoubtedly play a major role, but Ford would need to preserve the emotional connection that defines the Boss name. That means focusing on steering feel, driver engagement, and overall driving enjoyment rather than simply loading the vehicle with gadgets. Enthusiasts want a car that feels alive, and that's exactly what the Boss 302 has always represented. One of the most interesting aspects of this potential return is how it would fit into today's performance car market. Several legendary muscle cars have disappeared or evolved significantly in recent years. As a result, Ford has a unique opportunity to strengthen its position among enthusiasts. A modern Boss 302 could appeal to buyers seeking something more focused and exclusive than a standard Mustang GT, while remaining more attainable than ultra-high-performance Halo models. And now we come to the part that has generated perhaps the most speculation of all, the price. This is where things get really interesting. Many people assume that a special performance model carrying a legendary badge would automatically command an extremely high price tag. However, some industry observers believe Ford could position the Boss 302 more strategically. Imagine a car producing over 500 horsepower, featuring track-capable hardware, aggressive styling, and a legendary heritage, yet priced significantly lower than many European performance cars. If Ford managed to keep pricing somewhere in the range many enthusiasts expect, it could create tremendous value. Buyers would get serious performance without entering the territory occupied by six-figure sports cars. That's why the price could genuinely shock people. Not because it would necessarily be outrageously expensive, but because it might offer far more performance than anyone expects for the money. In a world where performance car prices continue climbing, delivering a legendary Mustang at a competitive price point could make headlines everywhere. Of course, it's important to remember that much of the discussion surrounding the 2027 Ford Mustang Boss 302 remains speculative at this point. Ford has not officially confirmed such a vehicle. However, the excitement surrounding the possibility shows just how powerful the Boss name remains after all these years. Whether you're a lifelong Mustang enthusiast, a collector, or simply someone who appreciates great performance cars, the idea of a new Boss 302 is hard to ignore. It combines heritage, power, technology, and emotion in a way few vehicles can. If Ford eventually decides to bring this icon back, it could become one of the most talked-about performance cars of the decade. So the big question is this: if the 2027 Ford Mustang Boss 302 becomes reality and arrives with the performance, styling, and surprisingly competitive price that enthusiasts are hoping for, would you buy one? Because if these rumors turn out to be true, the return of the Boss may be much bigger than anyone expected.